Hello everyone and welcome back. Here we are with our third installment of our 3 Blind Mice group build. And this one's a doozy. I got this thing from Polly, and Lee got one and Polly got one. They are all the exact same. They are a Johnny Lightning VW bug bomb, and it's definitely a bomb. So, no details. Got a protruding motor here, which I'm not going to use. So I got this big gaping hole in the front, and we got this big gaping hole in the back, and no pillars in the windows. So I'm sure that this thing is from probably right around the same time Johnny Lightning came out, right around same time as Hot Wheels. So we're going to figure something else to do with this. Let's take it apart and see what we can do with this. Stay tuned. Okay, let's rip into this thing. The bug bomb. Thing's so not just ugly, it's fugly. So we're going to try to make something cool out of it. I guess the original version was kind of unique. It had a motor, a big V8 motor in the front and a big V8 motor in the back. But I was never much on theme cars. I like custom cars, but not theme cars like that are kind of outlandish. I figured that most outlandish cars best belong on a Rat's Hole or a Big Daddy Roth t-shirt. So let's see what we can do with this. Well, now we got a go-kart. So, boy, they bury those axles in there. They're coming out. So we got a transmission, a seat, and a tunnel here. So, and we have a body and a little itty bitty windshield in here. So I'm going to drill that out carefully so I don't screw this up, because I don't have another window. Okay, let's see here. It pops right out. Okay, so I'm thinking, first of all, these sideboards, they suck. They're coming off. These wheels are coming off. Got to figure out a way to fill this gap in. I think what we're going to do is we're going to make a Baja Bug. I got a set of wheels here, and I'm shaking everything around. These old rail riders with Goodyear on the back. So we got that, and we put a set of sandrail tires on the front, which we could use. Let's see here. What do I have in my bag of tricks? Oh, let's see. I know I got some skinnies in here somewhere. I know I saw them. No, there's an idea. There's some old wheels off of the bus that I just did. Or I can find something that's a little bit cooler, because it would be a lot cooler if you did put something better on it. Let's see here. Okay, maybe this will work. See if I can fit this. Feels a little bit more appropriate. Big old dune tires in the back. Yeah, let's get rid of that. That's just, there we go. That's the look. Yes, that's the look I'm looking for. So we'll build it around these wheels. These fenders suck, and I think this is going to be a job for a jeweler's saw. And I got this I've been looking at. It's got a lot of good parts on it. We can cut this tail out of it. We can cut the hood out of this and mount it onto there. It's going to be an abomination, and I think I can cut this pillar out right here. And we can put that in there so it looks halfway decent. Give it a cool paint job. And I guess we can use this motor, or I can find another VW motor to hang out the ass end. And it's going to be an abomination between parts from this, and we'll just put it all together just like that. There you go. So stay tuned. Let me take some of this stuff apart and strip it. Okay, let's let the butchery begin. I don't like the front end of this car. I don't like the back end of this car. So for what I'm going to do, I'm going to graft this ass end and this front end to here, and I'm going to modify this front end to look like a more correct sand scorcher style dune buggy, or Baja bug, I mean. And then we are going to cut these silly running boards off and see where we are with that. So I'll cut it apart and stay tuned. Okay, here we are back with our bug bomb. I've got everything I need right here. George killed the car again. So cut the running boards off. Cut that ugly ass front end off. I got the back end whopped off. And I have this front end off the other one that I'm slowly working to get ready to mate to this. So there's your front end. And I had to narrow the back end, so I sectioned it, and we'll glue that back together, and we'll mate these to there. It's a nice big fancy jigsaw puzzle that super glue and baking soda will put together. And if you can see right here, I got two pillars. George, you're thinking right now, George really screwed the pooch on this one. I can get the damn thing to focus. There we are. There's my A pillars, or the center pillars. So there you have it. Stay tuned. I bet you can't wait now. Okay, and we're back. I have a mess here, but it's all one piece. And you're slowly starting to see my vision now, hopefully. Got rid of that horrible bug bomb front end. Same with the ass end. And we grafted that on there. We got to make a motor for it, and got to smooth everything out. Everything's all glued together for now. Let it dry overnight, and you can see where I'm going with this. I'm getting excited about this now. I was a little worried for a while, but I think it's going to work. Just a lot of sanding and body work, but it ain't nothing new that I haven't done before. And we have all these pieces left over. So stay tuned for more action. I'm going to let this sit up overnight. That's enough for tonight. I've done enough butchery. So we will see where we are in the morning. Right about now, they're saying, oh my gosh, what is George doing? Okay, and we're back with our, what was it, a Johnny Lightning Bug Bomb. I've gotten all the different bits and pieces glued together here, and I got it roughed in. I got the fenders bobbed. Everything's roughed in with sand, with about 2 hours of grinding and sanding and all that stuff. And if you haven't got one of these yet, it's called a Tack Life You can thank Lee over at Time Riders We Little Cars and Rob at Matchbox Garage. You saw it at Lee's place. If you don't have one of these, get one. It's a lifesaver. It's lightweight and it's cheap, and it works wonders. And it was a big help with this, along with this little flat file and lots of 400 grit sandpaper. So this is where I'm at right now. It's getting ready for some Bondo, and as you see, I drew some headlights on the front. I'm going to take a drill and recess those headlights and see where we are with that. And we'll check back in a little while. Mr. T is just absolutely amazed that this is a Johnny Lightning bug bomb. Also, excuse me, I got a little bit of cold. This big old hump on the bottom, I'm sure it was for some kind of launcher or something at one time of day that Johnny Lightning had. And I'll be working on the tail end of it too. Got to fit a motor in there. But this big old hump is coming off. I'm going to saw that off. So, Opa, you created a monster with this jeweler's saw. So, if you think George has lost his mind cutting these cars apart, Opa's to blame for that. So, stay tuned. Okay, and we're back with our dune buggy, which was once a bug bomb. And what a bomb it was. We cut this off the bottom. I just got to clean it up a little bit with the jeweler's saw. I got this all mudded up the way I want it. I usually have a tendency to put a little bit extra on, so, you know, have a little bit more leeway. This is just a rough mud, so most of it will come back off. So it's coming along better than I thought. Also, I'm doing some modifications to this. First of all, I'm cutting it off with my jeweler saw right there at the bottom, and we're getting rid of some of this extra garbage up here. We're just going to basically use the header, and then we're going to angle this and put a stack off the back of it, or as they call it in the old days, a donkey dick or a stinger, either or. Excuse me for my French, but that's what they called it. And like I say, we are going to cut it down like this, and we'll probably, this is the back, that's front. Cut a little bit of this off and mate that engine to this part. So I'll have basically two parts. I'll have just like a regular one, I'll have the chassis, and I'm going to just leave this seat. It's a dune buggy, so we will put maybe a roll bar in it or something, build some suspension out of tubing, and it's going to be really cool. So stay tuned. Okay, we are back. We are back, and we have more progress. One thing I forgot to show in the last video is I drilled these holes and kind of just countersink them a little bit on the front end. Got turn signal marker lights, and I took some of the smaller self-tapping screws from the Redline shop to make headlights for that. I still got to clean them up a little bit, still got to do some more roughing in, but I also forgot to show, I made some little running boards out of styrene to put on here, and a little tag light shield, which will all be sanded down nice and smooth. If I can ever get this image to focus, there it is. Also, the interior, you have to have a way to put it back together. So what I did was I had this, what is the Hot Wheels Mercedes. It didn't have a roof. So we tapped this back one and surgically cut it off with my jeweler saw, and we have it right here in the front. Now the back one, the hole didn't tap well. I need to get a new tap because it's about wore out from doing all these cars. So what I did instead was I'm going to try this. I got a piece of styrene tubing and I tapped that, which was tapped easier with the thing. And like I said, we have this motor all nice and cleaned up and mounted to the back. I just got to clean the glue off. And I just tapped it and put a hole and drilled and put it in there and put that in there. And then I fit it to the body. And all I have to do is put a drop of glue up there, put a drop of glue here, and just let it dry. Then you take screws out, bam, you got posts in a car that was never produced. Pretty cool, huh? So, next step, sanding. Stay tuned. Okay, here we are with our bug bomb from Johnny Lightning. First coat of Bondo sanded. I got the posts super glued in. We got some axles glued in for the wheels. Got the stance right. And we got our exhaust done, which all I used for the exhaust is I had these pointed sanding sticks in a set, which look like this. So all I did was cut the end off of this one, cleaned it up with a piece of sandpaper, and we drilled a hole in the manifold, and we drilled a hole in the end to give it the stinger or donkey dicks. That's funny. Exhaust on it. Now the next step is some styrene to make some front bumper and a rear engine cage, and more body filler. So that's where we are. It rolls. Check this out. It's a completely rolling setup, and it's cool looking. It's way cool looking. It's way cooler than it was in its regular form. So, without further ado, stay tuned. Okay, here we are with our Volkswagen Beach Bomb Dune Buggy, Sand Scorcher, whatever you want to call it. I've got almost all the bodywork roughed in here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lay down some primer and see what I have to work with, and see where my high spots, low spots, and no spots, whatever. And we'll see where we're at after some primer. And we'll take it from there. Probably be a little bit more sanding and filling, but that's what it's all about. So stay tuned. Okay, here we are with our VW Bug Bomb. First coat of primer. As you can see, I still have some body work to do on the sides. You can still see the bud where I didn't get it all sanded off right there underneath the windows. So, like I say, it's just a roughing in. We got the axles hung. What I'm going to do is take some of this styrene and build an engine cage for the back and a bumper for the front. So that will be next. And we have 1 week to finish this. Isn't that going to be awesome? Stay tuned. Okay, and we're back. I excuse me, got it pretty much where I want it. Got the engine done. Got the cage, or the guards around the rear engine guards. Got the axles. Put a dash in it. I'm going to cut the windows later after I'm done. I'm just going to use some styrene and glue them in there. And this is about as good as this body's going to get. It's nice and straight. Got lines carved out for the doors. And grafting, custom making the front and the back for this thing pretty much. Turned out pretty well. I know I didn't keep it as a bug bomb, but I just wasn't feeling it. Sorry, Lee. Sorry, Paul. I had to do something. So this is ready for some paint, or some sealer, I should say, and then some paint. I'm going to shoot it in a Autoborn sealer white. Then I'm going to shoot a pearl white over it. And then we're going to get crazy with it. And this will just be your standard Wicked Black, which I can't find right now. I have to dig for it. Well, here it is. Yep, Wicked Black. And I'll have to dig for the Wicked Pearl White. So that's where we are. And I'll come back with some, at least the first color on here. So stay tuned. Okay, and we're back with our base coat of pearl white. And it turned out pretty decent. Now granted, it's not shiny yet because there's no clear coat on it. So, but I'm happy with it, considering all the body work that's gone into this thing. I gotta let it dry for a good while there for tomorrow, because I'm going to tape this bad boy off and put a whole bunch of cool stuff on it. We also have our makeshift interior all done. I'm just do some bright work on it later on, but that's pretty much all I'm going to do to that. It came out pretty well. I always like to start with a Wicked Black, which comes out like a semi-gloss or a satin black start. And we'll take it from there and see where the chrome pen takes us and see where the other colors take us. And just the same with this. It's not going to stay just all white. The white will be this one of the two colors that will be on this thing. So it's going to look awesome, trust me. So that's all for tonight. I'm tired. It's been a busy week, and stay tuned. Okay, and we are back with our Volkswagen Bug Bomb. And I got her all ready for some paint. So what we're going to do is shoot the areas that are not painted with his wicked colors, pearl lime green. Then I'm going to decide what to do with it after that. So let's go shoot this stuff and cross your fingers that it comes out okay. Because I have so much body work in this, the paint stripper would screw this thing up. So cross your fingers and stay tuned. Okay, here we are with our wicked lime green. Hopefully when I pull all this tape off, there won't be any bleeding, and we will have one awesome looking lime green and white sand scorching looking bug bomb. And then we'll put our details, and then we'll clear coat this baby, and this body will be looking really swell. I love this color. It's bright, it's atomic. So, well, wish me luck. Okay, and we are back with the bits and pieces of this VW Beach Bomb by Johnny Lightning. This thing has been so much fun to build. I really got to stretch my legs with this thing. Lee and Paul, I'm really sorry that I didn't stick with the original Beach Bomb. Well, I did, but I didn't. I made it my own. I customized it, I guess you would say. And as you can see, I'm not going to show you the top. You can see all the bodywork inside this bad boy. from adding the posts to adding the front end to grafting rear fenders to this thing to the posts. I actually just used an old blister pack and made windows for this thing and then just super glued them in. And from the outside they look pretty cool. So that's all nice and beautiful. I used a lime green and a pearl white, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. I kind of want to wait for the reveal to show you the final product. And here we have our stinger on the back, or as I was calling it earlier, the donkey dick. But I made a rear engine cage out of styrene, put that on there. We cut the back of it off to fit this motor. You remember me cutting the motor out earlier with my jeweler saw. That's actually the Hot Wheels motor and a homemade stinger, which was made out of one of my sanding sticks. Actually, I just cleaned it in one of these. I got a mess over here. One of these right here. That's all I used. Pretty awesome, huh? And we just used some aluminum tubing, and I just cut the dash out of that Hot Wheels one and just glued the front half. If I can get this darn thing to focus. Here we go again with this, fellas. Everybody. There we are. And we just glued the dash, and we shot the whole thing in Wicked Jet Black by Wicked Colors. And this was for the rear transaxle when it had a back motor, but you're never going to see it inside. So I did that, and I was going to use white wheels, but with all the white that was on the car, I changed my mind to chrome because it was too much white when I got done with it. So we just went with these, and we used the old school Real Riders with this, with the newer school rims, and it gives the right look that I was looking for. So there's not much to it, just these parts. So let me put this bad boy together and we'll do a reveal. Stay tuned. Okay, here we are with the Three Blind Mice group build of the Johnny Lightning Volkswagen Bug Bomb. And like I say, when I started, it was definitely a bomb. Very kind of two-dimensional casting with two fictional V8 motors in it, one in the front, one in the back. And I just couldn't wrap my head around. I thought about let's make a V8 race car out of it, but you know, that's been done. And I just wanted to do something really neat. I had this vision in my head, and I turned it into something that will be in my top showcase. So without further ado, here we go. The VW Johnny Lightning Bug Bomb turned into a replica Tamiya Sand Scorcher, which is a Volkswagen dune buggy made by Tamiya. That's our remote control. I restored one of these probably 10 years ago, and I've always loved these things. I love the dune buggy body with the big sandrail tires on the back, and these Real Riders are a perfect match with the skinny fronts. I want to dedicate this to my good buddy Bob G. You see his name on the comments. He's a childhood friend of mine that I grew up and went to school with. He now lives 2 states away, or 1 state away, but pretty far away. He's about three hours away. And he was when we were in high school, he was the bug man. And he actually had one of these, and he's still alive. I'm just dead. He's not dead or anything. I'm dedicating it to my childhood buddy Bobby, or Bob, as he likes to be called now. And Bob, this one's for you, buddy. I dedicated this build to you. This is your old dune buggy. So, and just a quick funny story. When we first got our license, there you have these old one-lane bridges that are raised. He decided to jump his first bug with that, and he succeeded in clearing the bridge, but when it landed, it shattered the magnesium oil pan and threw oil everywhere. Just an old school story. But thanks for the memories, Bob. Hope you come up and we can do some target shooting soon. And like I say, sorry Lee, sorry Paul, I had this vision in my head and I had to go through with it. But like I say, here it is. It's a replica Volkswagen Beetle dune buggy sand scorcher from the front, which was, I grafted that piece of crap Volkswagen dune buggy front end and completely redesigned it because the fenders had the lights out on the fenders and it just didn't look right. So I sanded and filed, and I bobbed the fenders in the front, I bobbed the fenders in the back, and we actually shortened. We cut the back fenders off, and we sectioned and brought it in, and we used the center section and the frame of the actual Johnny Lightning bug bomb. And of course my headlights are little Hot Wheels rivets that I use on my red lines, the smaller style rivets that you just fill the heads, and you tap and I countersunk the holes and run those in, and they look just like the headlights on the sand scorcher. And we talked about the Stinger. We got Real Rider wheels on the back, and I got M2s on the front, which work perfectly. I'll show you a picture of a real sand scorcher. I did the exact same paint job as the RC sand scorchers have. It is a wicked pearl green with Createx pearl white. Everything's taped off, as you saw, and I am just tickled to death. So much sanding, so much body work, so much styrene went into this, and I did it all in under 2 weeks. And like I say, the windows are just blister packed, super glued in there. I'd like to thank, let's see, this is Great Value baking soda. And I would also like to thank Gorilla Super Glue for sponsoring this build. So go over there to Time Riders Wee Little Cars if you haven't already. Go to beautiful Las Vegas with Fat Man Productions with my good buddy Polly and my good buddy Lee. See what they have come up with. They're probably going to be mad at me because I totally butchered this thing. But I had this vision in my head and I had to execute it. So stay tuned for the glamour shots and have a nice weekend. We'll catch you on the next build.
Standing in the middle of nowhere, wondering how to begin. Lost between tomorrow and yesterday, between now and then. And now we're back.